Good afternoon, welcome. Calls me to order. Join me, stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing on the agenda is approval of payroll, July 14th, 2014.
Motion to approve the payroll from July 14th, 2014.
Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Approval of claims, July 3rd and July 10th, 2014.
Make a motion to approve the claims from July 3rd and July 10th, 2014.
Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say sign. Okay, we're going to have a public hearing on our proposed rate reestablishment for the cumulative capital development fund. And a couple of things, we're doing this at the beginning for those people who came specifically for this, so that you don't have to sit through the whole meeting to do that. The rules of the public hearing are that I'm going to give a little statement, tell what we're doing, and then the public has the ability to come up. We have a microphone at the end and state your name and address, and whether you want to demonstrate or speak in favor of what we're doing. So we'll begin that, but before we do, I have something that I need to tell you. I know it's an election year, and some office holders are trying to score political points with the voters. And I understand that some in the media need to sell newspapers. But doing so is scare tactics, does not do anything but hurt our efforts to come together to solve our budget challenges. So before this public hearing begins on the proposed rate reestablishment for the cumulative capital development fund, I would like to take a minute to talk about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and the impact it'll have on the taxpayers. As everyone is aware, the county's general fund has faced massive pressures over the last few years, primarily because of the tax caps. The county council has been struggling to manage this pressure, yet we still face significant shortfalls. Part of the council's efforts include commissioning the Umbaugh report, which offers several suggestions that would assist us. One recommendation in the Umbaugh report was to take the action that we are considering today. This is the same Umbaugh report that some council members have demanded that we implement, including the current council member who has been publicly critical of today's proposal. All that we are doing is moving approximately $825,000 in annual power, water, and sewage expenses from the general fund to the more appropriated CCD fund. This will free up that $825,000 in the general fund to help the council manage the budget shortfall. The impact on the taxpayer should be negligible. This action will raise the CCD rate by 0.4 cents per $100 of assessed valuation. Let me repeat that. 0.4 cents, not 4 cents, 0.4 cents. For a home with an assessed valuation of $150,000 that has a homestead and a standard deduction, that translates to an additional 25 cents a month. And for those homeowners who have already hit the property tax cap, they won't even pay the additional 25 cents. Now, for those who don't want to pay an extra 25 cents a month, I don't think that they'll have to. The county has paid off the juvenile bond, and the annual assessment that property owners have been paying out of that bond will be gone. That should offset the 0.4 cents increase in the CCD fund that we are proposing today. In other words, that should negate the entire 25 cents a month more that would be paid. In addition to eliminating the assessment for the juvenile bond, there is a possibility that the overall property tax rate will decrease for 2015 because the cumulative assessed valuation in the county has increased. This means that with this extra 25 cents a month, there is a likelihood that your overall property tax rate in 2015 will be less than it is this year. The commissioners are committed to working with the county council to resolve our general fund challenges, and this is one way that we can help. This action follows the recommendation of the Umbaugh report, assists the council in balancing the general fund, does not involve any new spending, and is timed so that there are essentially no negative impacts on the taxpayer. So, I see Bob Clifford just came in from representing Umbaugh, and
planning for the county commissioners and council. The county cumulative development rate, or capital cumulative development rate, is for capital items. And what happens with that rate is if you don't renew it every year, the DLGF automatically reduces your rate year to year. And I was looking back at some history just for your CCD fund. In 2010, we collected $1,915,000 for capital development. And in 2013, it was down to $1,632,000 for that fund. Because what happens is, as your assessed value goes up, the DLGF automatically reduces your rate to collect the same amount. Except what's happening now is we're losing money to circuit breaker. So we lost position fee, $100,000 a year on your fund. By reestablishing this rate, you're actually keeping the tax rate, and the tax rate is the same as it was 4 years ago. And so it's very helpful, I think. Did a rough calculation. For a net assessed value of $50,000, it's going to be, for a home of $50,000, it's going to be about, at a net assessed value of $2 a year.
This did my own here before you came in, $150,000. About $2.25.
And I know it's just a net assessed value. So, we did recommend that you do this. The circuit breaker losses that you're facing here in the county, you really need to go ahead and make sure you maintain your cash balances and fund balances and do what you can.
Okay, we'll begin then with anyone who wishes to speak in opposition of the reestablishment of this rate. Then I'd ask that you come up and take the position at the microphone, state your name, address, and tell us what you'd like to hear. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the reestablishment of this rate? Third time for the negative. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the reestablishment of this rate? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the reestablishment of this rate?
How many years?
How many years, sir?
How many years is this going to take for this tax to disappear after it replaces the money that you're talking about?
The rate is always established as part of our general, part of our budget through the year, so there's always a CCD fund. Third and final time, anyone wishing to speak in favor of this reestablishment?
Perhaps I apologize for coming in late. I would like to speak.
Would you come up to the microphone, sir? and
Yes, I
speak?
will.
Either one, if you want to have a seat or if you want to go to the top.
I am Philip DeMille. I've lived 68 years, my life 73 years in Porter County. I'm a licensed retired professional electrical engineer. And I paid my first taxes when I was 12 years old in Porter County. I'm not sure the sequence of your meeting. I didn't get a schedule, but I believe this is supposed to be an open forum about the budget.
But actually, we're just discussing the CCD reestablishment rate. The budget hearings will be later on this year for the general fund budget. Is that what you agreed to?
Well, what was announced in the paper, it said we'll open for public comments about the 2015 budget.
The 2015 reestablishment of the CCD fund is what we're talking about. The cumulative capital development fund.
Okay, I'll speak against that.
Sure.
The thing I find in Porter County is what I find federally, what I find in today's paper, with the treasurer retiring, making sure he retires in time to get an additional 11%
cumulative capital development fund is for maintenance, purchase of police cars, and they're not, it's not for.
I beg your pardon. I'll withdraw that comment. When am I allowed to talk about the budget in general?
That'll be at the budget hearings held by the county council, who are the fiscal arm of county government.
And when is that
Is
scheduled?
there a schedule for that?
We have the schedule there.
We do. I don't know what it is, though.
You could check, you could check at the council's office, which is this way, and the first one on the
I
left.
did that a week ago when I went over the first pages line item budgets for the year 2014, which is 2015 is based upon.
We don't approve that budget, nor do we have hearings on that budget.
We'll set our, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Chairman. We'll set that budget public hearing setting. We're gonna start moving into the budgets, discussing them usually in September, and there'll be a series of excruciatingly root canal type meetings, and you're welcome to come and watch that. We will set and publish our public hearing on the budget, and you and anyone else who wishes to discuss our budgets at that hearing, certainly.
Okay,
Right.
someone in your office, presumably working under your command, told me this was the day to make those comments.
Well, she probably thought you were gonna say something negative, so she sent you the commission. Not this case, we'll get you the, you'll see it, and if you leave your name with, my assistant here, you'll be able to, we'll let you know. You won't miss it.
Let me know, I'm following what's going on.
Good.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
No problem.
Sometimes when you get to be a little older. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and we do appreciate you being here and wanting to voice your opinion. And I would truly encourage you to go to the council meetings, because there are many times that when they call for citizen involvement, that no one says a word. I mean, they're talking about $29 to $40 million, and no one has a word to say. So I'm glad
I
to
will
see
say
somebody.
something at that time, believe me.
Great, thank you very much.
Is there a way I could ask a question here?
Sure.
This is like the first time I've been at a meeting like this. I'm Bill Blazak. I live in Greenfield Creek. The tax situation with the hospital isn't resolved. Accordingly, I believe it's $130 million coming to the county.
Well, that's the assessed valuation that has been agreed upon by the assessor on that.
My question to you would be, how is that going to affect, you say your shortfall is going to be what, $1 million?
Probably closer to $5 million.
Okay. Do you have any feed off from that transaction?
Sure, the auditor could probably explain that to you if you'd like.
So I'm just wondering if that could possibly resolve your situation before it even begins, because you have money that could be pulled in to what you need. Is that a possibility?
Well, it will increase our assessed valuation. Go ahead, Bob, and let you.
No, over time that will be the case, but right now, we're calculating the total right now, what the hospital will be relative to the assessed value that's been established by the assessor, and what the hospital has already paid over the years, and then the abatement period, retroactive for 3 years. So, understand the hospital's paying a tax rate based upon the assessed value that's been established now, but they have an abatement. Okay, which means for a period of a few years here, they're paying only a portion of their taxes. Okay, so there will be a period where, you know, they'll reconcile. So right now, we're going through and doing authorizations even as we speak, to be able to issue them a tax, actually, tax bills in arrears for 3 years that reflect the assessed value that's been agreed to, less the abatement, with the abatement that's been with the county council has established, and then any payments that they've already made, which they were making, and then we reconcile that in the form of either an additional bill to them or a credit that's issued based upon their only payment. And we're doing that even as we speak. So, yeah, ultimately, down the road, that your observation is valid, but on an immediate basis, we can't speak to that accurately.
But I'm just wondering if you could tap, you will eventually be able to tap into that source of revenue, which I expect would be more
That's absolutely true, but then you have to also understand that the value of the asset, their assessed value based upon whatever the assessors establishes the basis. Okay, right now it's at $130 million, okay? Whatever valuation that the assessor places on it, on year after year after year, could literally go down too, as well. So, the assessor gives us the number, what the value of the property is, and then all we do is the calculations based upon the abatement that's been granted to them and the tax rate that's established.
So in the very immediate future, this source of revenue would not affect anything because we don't have enough.
Yeah, it would probably, I'd be remiss for stating that that's going to be a panacea for this problem. It will not. That would be overstating it to say that this is gonna be our, if you're looking for the word lifeboat, it's not there.
And we only get a portion of it.
That's correct, and that's correct. It's divided upon all the units of government where that property sits, okay? So it's gonna be Liberty Township, it'll be Porter County, it will be the library, it'll be the airport, it'll be, Dunlin schools. Everybody gets, based upon the rate that's assigned to that valuation, that money's divided among all those folks.
And would some of that trickle down to you then eventually?
We get a portion of the county that's based upon the tax rate that we assign to it, the county's portion of the tax rate.
The other thing to remember is that it's always a year behind, so the taxes that you're paying in 2014 are actually taxes that were assessed in 2013. So 2013 is paid 2014, so you're always 1 year late.
To the arrears, we're always paying in arrears. I mean, we live our lives in real time, all of us do. I mean, when we go buy a gallon of gas, we get a gallon of gas. What happens in this process is that by March 1st, the assessor, in particular year, the assessor has established the value of both the personal property and the real property, and that's what's called rolled over to the auditor. That's my office. And I establish my office first what's called the net assessed value. That net assessed value is that upon which each taxing unit establishes their budgets. And then that following year is when the bill goes out based upon all those numbers, and that's when the money's collected.
Thank you all.
Is that clear?
There is none. Anybody else wish to address this body in reference to this public hearing on the reestablishment of the CCD? Okay, I close the public. I'll entertain a motion to adopt a resolution for the CCD.
I'll make a motion to approve the rate reestablishment of the cumulative development fund to 0.233 for $100 of assessed valuation. 233.
Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So we need to do the required notice and so that we can have this, has to be in effect. The DLG has to have their copies and it has to have the posted period by August 1st. So I think we're good. Okay. Air conditioning unit replacement recommendation, Mike Jago, BLZ, on the E911 dispatch room and sheriff's server room. Michael, how are you?
Beautiful spring day.
Yeah. Early fall.
That's your last meeting. You said we were going to go out for quotes for the replacement of the air conditioner units in the 911 dispatch room and the sheriff's server room. We sent out 5 invitations to contractors that have the qualifications for this work. We received 3 quotes. One from Circle R Mechanical in the amount of $149,800. Another from D.A. Dodd, Fort County firm, for $160,100. And a quote from Mechanical Concepts, getting this across the county line, Gary, $190,500. However, there was an exception to this particular quote. It included no control price. Control is what the range is, apparently, the control system you have, there's only very few vendors that do that, and even one of the contractors did this successfully, turned it in, and was filling his in, so we won't pay for it, that's how they do that. down 3 minutes on the.
Yeah,
They're
they're
managing
close.
points.
They're open down our door 5 minutes before the end of the time limit. That was because of that closing it, so, you know, rather than, penalize somebody for not being on the phone before the other guy, I think I'd like to go ahead and rebid it.
Or when we did it, to correct it, when we did it, we're just going to be,
That's which quote, which quote.
that's certainly an option.
It's already given 7 days.
Yeah, with quotes, we talked to the county attorney yesterday. She said as long as we gave 7 days notice, we would advise the same clock.
Motion to requote. Motion to requote, second, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. 7 days, is that adequate?
Yes, as long as we get advised.
Officers, department heads, housing costs, any more to mention?
And I know while Alice was here.
Okay, yeah.
Stephen,
We're gonna talk about the alternative, notes. Okay, we'll work, well, my, memorandum of understanding across the office. So you wanna talk about the upgrade, yeah, roofs, for the.
Well, we need to talk about the roof, but, also we're talking about the grant, and we believe in order to receive the approval for the contract for the parking lot.
Okay. Go ahead.
We are a June Alternative Detention Initiative, site for the state of Indiana. And with that, we have an opportunity to apply for grants through the Indiana Department of Correction. What this grant does for us, it supplies us with a full-time tutor, it does training for law enforcement, it also allows us to do incentives with kids that are on probation or on alternatives to detention. So instead of being housed in the detention center, we're able to go out in the community and actually move them out in the community safely. We received a grant for $92,000, and at this time, I am requesting that the contract be signed. So we can send that in, so we can receive our money.
When it costs nothing and all it is a signature, and you get
Signature.
$92,000, how could we refuse you? We will need to create a separate fund for this.
Already done.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the juvenile detention alternative initiative continuation grant.
Motion second, all those in favor, signify by aye. Aye. Those same sign. Now we're gonna talk about a roof that's gonna cost more than the grant.
Yeah, unfortunately, things are getting pretty dire at the Juvenile Services Center. As you already know, the front part of the building, you previously approved to get resurfaced for roof. However, we are starting to see, significant leakage on the secure part of the center, which is the back of the detention center is. So much so that our fire alarm system is, we're hoping not to get fried by the water damage that's coming down into the secure area. For example, in the last probably 2 weeks, we've had the fire alarm system go off, in which we almost had to evacuate children out into a thunderstorm. Thank goodness we were able to assess the situation quickly, so we didn't have to take them outside. We've had to evacuate the building, while work was going on into rain. It happens when it rains. This past weekend when it rained again, we had the fire alarm going off 4 times. So we have to line the kids up, we have to do an inspection of the building, we have to make sure that there isn't any fire. We need to contact the fire department at that time. Knowing that we've had this water issue on one of the sensors in the secure area, we did not call the fire department, so they wouldn't unnecessarily have to come out. We don't need them to do that. However, it's getting to be so dire at this point that I'm very concerned that if we don't re-roof that part of the building, we're gonna lose our fire alarm system, which is gonna cost us a lot more money. It's frankly putting staff in jeopardy, because we have to line them up, and it really disrupts the milieu of the center. Sometimes it's in the middle of the night, we have to get kids out, we have very dangerous kids in there. We just take one of them to go off the handle in the middle of the night, while we're having to line them up as, if we need to evacuate, annual fire inspection. And I am concerned that if we don't get this fixed, our system is going to be working, thus we're not going to be able to have the fire inspection, thus we're not going to be able to hold kids, and then we're going to have to ship our kids to other counties to pay them to house our kids, when we have a perfectly fine center here. I'm greatly concerned. I feel like we do need to revisit that part of the building. I think it is an emergency situation.
Okay, we understand the need. Now tell us about the cost.
I'm Stephen Perkowski with DLZ. We have looked at the existing conditions and the additional costs. We have requested, we have a contractor currently under contract to do the eastern portion of the facility. It's about half the overall. We've gone through and asked price proposals from them. And so the net change is about $130,000, over 130,100 when you add up the add amounts for the additional area, the deduct amounts for other portions in their contract that they are not performing. We did look at other options, and with those options, from the short term, they're a little bit cheaper, but from a long-term standpoint, performance standpoint, it would be our recommendation, if provided there's funds available, that you would go with re-roofing the entire area, including that additional area. So that net change would be $130,100. And obviously, we would view this as an unforeseen condition. It was in when documents were prepared. That area had been recently repaired, and it wasn't in the condition that it is now. It was probably talking to 8 months ago about redoing that area as well. So we would view that as an unforeseen condition that as long as loans are available.
And who received the original bid?
It was EC Badilla.
Are they online with the change in that dollar amount, or?
They are. They actually provided the cost. We, rather than us putting an estimate, we did put an initial estimate, and rather us coming before you with an assumed estimate, we actually solicited numbers from them. So those are our numbers. There's also a slight savings. If you end up doing the entire roof, they can consolidate some of the shipping costs. So there's about $600 to $800 of savings by doing the remaining portion of the roof as well, just because of the shipping at one time.
There's not a second mobilization charge?
There would not be. They would be doing it all at one time. They have not started and have not mobilized on the site.
The material that is on that roof, it used to be a tile type of material. Is that the same thing we're going to put back on?
Now, this is, the current tile is a concrete tile. It's very brittle, and it also absorbs water. And so we're going with a synthetic. It's a synthetic slate. It's not a natural slate. It's a recycled material. So it's a sustainable material. It has a 50-year warranty to it. It has a 10-year labor and material all inclusive. After the 50 years is that it is prorated then based on your usage, which is better than most other products that are out there as well. So there is, all warranties have some stipulations, but it's a product that's used in this area in the Roosevelt trade center, just around a few of their facilities, people are gathered. So it's a pretty solid product.
Over the years, Allison, many people have said the reason that roof failed is because people that weren't supposed to be up there were up there walking around. So is this tile gonna, if somebody goes up there to it?
It's not brittle. It does withstand. There's also some, in terms of hail resistance, wind resistance, it's much stronger than a asphalt shingle. It also, you always have to, whether you're in a flat roof or a sloped roof, you always have to be on it to inspect it. And so you really need to have something that go onto the roof and inspect it on a routine basis. So this would be a product that you could walk on without cracking the tiles as you're walking on them. Prorate, so after 10 years, then it's divided by 1/600 for every month. So every time you use it, then it's just the amount of
that we can approve the change order to the contract, but we need to notify the county attorney to make sure that that's proper.
That's correct. There's some statutes within the state law that indicates change orders and some procedures on that. We would view this as an unforeseen. There's a stipulation in terms of the dollar amount. That's the limit, though there's also a statement within there that there's a unforeseen condition that would arise as well. So that allows you to exceed that threshold. So it's an area I think it's just to be due diligent to have your attorney make the final change.
And the other thing is the building corporation that exists has about $85,000 that they're willing to contribute to this.
Correct. As soon as I receive the updated numbers, I'm gonna present to that building corporation meeting and discuss it further and we're gonna talk about.
I entertain a motion conditioned upon the attorney's report.
I'd like to make a motion that this is considered unforeseen event because of the water damage and that we go ahead and do you're saying it's unforeseen event. Make a motion to take it as an
So we're going to need another motion. This proves the fact that this is an unforeseen event and thus puts it in agreement in this situation. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those abstaining. Now we need a motion for the amount.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the change order to the Juvenile Detention Center roof for $130,100. $85,000 was taken from Juvenile Detention Building Board, and the remainder of $55,000 was taken from community. And permission to have the president sign the change order and subject to the review of the attorney.
Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those abstaining. Thank you very much. Sheriff Evans, IT Director. Oh, Don's here. Upgrade the county's mainframe and Adam Drucko replacing the existing contract for the Apple.
Yeah, we've got 2 IBM computers now that the old maintenance was up, I think, in August sometime. So Sharon did her homework and found out that if we renew the maintenance for 3 years, this is going to cost us $34,500. We can replace both of these, and with the one unit, that's all we need now. We don't need the 2 for $33,165. That does come with a 3-year big maintenance on it. So.
It's kind of almost a no-brainer, isn't it?
That's what I thought.
Now, I said $32,900.
What's that?
$33,000.
Still less than the maintenance.
I had $32,900.
I've got 33,165 after.
Still less than the maintenance. All right, questions? Any more?
I'll make a motion to approve the upgrade on the county mainframe for $33,165.24 with SIS. We take down PCD 4510 and the general
Report from commissioners. Center District.
LCA voucher 28 for the Richard Smoke Road intersection improvement to reimburse the county $215. Recommended for consent.
Motion second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. North District has LPA vouchers 48 and 50 for Porter County Bridge 156, Porter Avenue over Coffee Creek to reimburse the county $2,500 and $2,788.05. Recommended approval. Motion second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. South District.
LPA voucher 1 for Porter County Replacement Bridge number 165, County Road 600 east over Little Calumet River to reimburse the county $13,988. Recommended approval.
Motion second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All districts, LPA voucher 1 for the inspection of 126 brick structures in Porter County, phase 1, to reimburse the county $6,760. Recommended approval. Motion second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Correspondence. We have the request for approval of maintenance agreement with the Indiana mailing system for the mail machines and scale at the courthouse. Motion. And second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Request for approval of meter rental agreement with Hassler for the mail machines and scale at the courthouse. Motion second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Request for additional appropriation from the Highway Department, Fund 1135, $75,000 to 11,110 payroll, necessary additional to meet bridge payroll per auditor. Motion second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Request for reduction appropriation, Commissioners, Fund 1,1030, $2,146 from 30 general fund to 2110 office supplies. Cover additional appropriation to 2250 other supplies for soil and water. Motion second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Request for approval of soil solutions contract for the Academy Trail. Motion second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Request for approval to change the size of trash and recycle container from an 8-yard container to a 4-yard container at the North County Complex with Davis Building. Motion second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Request for approval of pest control with Aero Services for the Memorial Outhouse. Motion is second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. We're going to talk about, Dan, come on up, private foundation for the investment of the county hospital proceeds. This is a discussion with Council President Dan Witt. Oh, you know what, if I could interrupt just one second, I forgot one thing again. Have a seat, make yourself comfortable. Get used to that side of it. Where's that? We have a request from Getz Landscape that we contracted with to take out a whole lot of trees at the Expo Center, the Fairground, and Juvenile Center, and North County because of the ash borer beetle. And now we've got a request to replace, finish taking down those trees as they come. They're not all dead. As they die, we're taking them out a little at a time. A lot of times taking the branches out first, and then as they die, and then going back and get the rest later. But the gist of the proposal is to replace about, how many are there? 86 trees altogether in the various locations throughout the county. Remove the old trees that are there, grind out the stumps, and reseed them. 86 of the extra, I think there's a total of, there's over 100. So, and the proposal is for $29,160. Well, go ahead.
Thank you for letting me come speak before this board. As you know, we've had quite a few conversations between the boards at our meeting and amongst ourselves and respective boards here about our options with the hospital principal money. I think we all agree that we need to do something. We've got some budgetary constraints that are causing us all a degree of frustration and duress, and we're looking at all possibilities to relieve some of that strain. And specific to the hospital principal, we had our meeting jointly, and we discussed the various options that we could do with the hospital principal. And I know that there are 3 or 4 on the table. Of course, one of them is absolutely nothing, and nobody was for that. So we're looking at options of things that we can do to improve our situation. One of them was the creation of our own foundation to allow the investment of the money to get away from the limitations that are on government at this time. We've acted on that one. I'll get back to that in a second. Another one was to invest some of the money, or perhaps all the money, in an existing foundation. That's another option. We're still exploring that, so we're not proposing our private foundation exclusive of other options. And another one, John, we've got a joint meeting coming up on Monday to discuss another possibility, and that would be some lobbying and changing of state statutes that limit our ability to invest that money. So we're certainly hopeful that lends itself to some fruitful possibilities for us. So what I'm coming to talk to you about tonight, or today, is the creation of our own foundation. And again, not exclusive of the other options. We're still looking at those, and candidly, my personal opinion is we probably need to explore all of them, and perhaps have some diversification. But the council voted unanimously to create our own foundation for the purpose of investing some of this money and get that ball rolling. The problem is that it's going to require some input on the front end from the commissioners, and ultimately it will require a unanimous vote of the commissioners and council to fund it. So I thought it appropriate to come and kind of report to the commissioners, and you can mull it over or give me feedback on some of the things that we're facing in the creation of the foundation. I think we all agree that the lion's share of our board's involvement in this foundation is going to be on the front end. I think ultimately we have to have a board of directors, which creates another issue that we have to decide that will manage the foundation. But moving into that, we have to have an investment policy in place. We have the creation of the board representation, how many appointments from the commissioners, how many appointments from the council, perhaps joint appointments. At one time I was thinking that the treasurer would have an appointment, whoever that may be. So we have a lot to discuss with that. But what I brought today was in our efforts to sort of speed things along. I've gotten some sample investment policies that I'd like to give to the commissioners to look at, give you some thoughts as we're contemplating what investment policy we want to put in place. Going into this foundation, a couple of examples. Now, a few of them are just straight up investment policies. There is one policy in here that contemplates the hiring of another foundation to help manage the money for our foundation. So that's a possibility as well. So I guess that's another option that we haven't really discussed. But it's out there if you think that the creation of our own investment policies will delay things substantially. So I'd like to give that to you. But also, our attorney is working up the paperwork for the foundation. He's been asking some of these questions that I really think we both boards to answer. So if I can give these to you, then at least it would make it look like, give the appearance that I came prepared. And then here also is a consulting agreement you can sort of look through. Just again, these are just samples. Now, some of these have names on them. So I guess if you're wanting to share these with anybody, I would ask that you read that in names. I'm not sure that those folks would like these out and about.
don't have to, you know, I don't want to belabor your meeting with the devil in details here today.
Okay,
but-
we saved you.
Yeah, sure. So those are things that we have to kind of get ironed out. And I know that come Monday, we're gonna talk about some other thoughts and other ideas. I know that, John, you and I are discussing, you know, the possibility of existing foundations. We're gonna explore that as well. Why I thought it appropriate that we get some serious discussion on the front end of the things that we need to do to fully fund, or at least fund, the existing foundation, get it off the ground, and see where the future leads us on return on investment. We got to have
It is gonna be a challenge, like I said, I mean, to get 10 people to agree on anything is gonna be kind of difficult, I mean, so that part alone is gonna be an uphill struggle.
Well, we get along famously on the council.
I agree. So, written in the past. But I think that we have to do this. I mean, we can't continue to kick this can down the road. Our hands were tied with all the years that the hospital was being constructed. We couldn't do anything with it. And I think maybe we became a little commonplace just to have that money sitting there. Well, it was great when the interest rates were racking up the interest, but that hasn't happened in a number of years. And we're kind of behind the eight ball. We need to move it forward. So it's going to take cooperation, and I'm glad we got it going. I look forward to Monday night. The fellow that's going to present, as you know, is the guy that wrote the legislation for the state of Indiana when they found themselves handcuffed the way we are now after they sold the toll road. So they had to have the means available to invest their money. And I think if we can get the same rules, that will open up some of the different avenues for us anyway, especially in the cash that we can be able to have immediately sell.
Certainly, I think that, you know, the gentleman that I think left was asking about, is the hospital, you know, now that getting the assessed value nailed down, and is that gonna be our saving grace? And you were correct in that it is not gonna be our saving grace. I think it's gonna require, at least from the council's perspective, and then, of course, from the commissioners, a series of things to happen, and this is one of them. But we're looking to cut budgets this year, that's gonna be important, but if we can get the interest flowing on the hospital, principle, I think we all agree that that's a big chunk of our problems. So,
What's the input needed?
Well, I think one of the things, obviously, is we have to come up with our investment policy for this foundation. I think that's important. John, you mentioned the toll road, and maybe we want to look at, you know, the major moves investment, you know, their limitations, stipulations, maybe as a starting block, and then we can kind of tweak it and go from there. They seem to have done pretty good. But these are some other possibilities. I think in the very, very near future, we need to get our board appointed. I mean, and I would suggest, and this is just my personal opinion, that the board not consist of elected officials. I would suggest that it be an odd number, so perhaps a number from the council, a number from the commissioners, and maybe the treasurer, whoever he or she may end up being, has an appointment to break the tie. That's just one possibility. I'm not fixed in stone on that, but we certainly wouldn't want to leave the number that's signing kind of things. But, you know, again, if we, as two governing bodies, come up with a pretty, you know, specific investment policy going into this thing, I think that the board, you know, has to follow those guidelines. We're not going to be concerned that they're under-investing or investing sort of recklessly if we find ourselves, you know, losing money. So I think that's probably our most two pressing issues right now.
Have you guys talked about maybe one big one in the board qualification?
That's another thing. I think that, yeah, we need some folks with some financial background. You know, this is $160 million, is a lot of green. So we want somebody that, you know, I guess I would suggest from a political standpoint, be all Democrat. No, I'm just kidding. Sylvia's the only one that laughed. Thank you, Sylvia. Is it jury or not?
I would suggest maybe an even split, you know. I would suggest an even split so that we can, you know, take the perception of politics out of it. And go from there. I think it, you know, of course, I'm a councilman, so I would suggest that, you know, the council be, you know, something like 4 appointments, the commissioners for 2. I'm sure you guys would be happy to hear that. But whatever the net result is, we need to get it done, and I would strongly suggest that we use your right, I forgot that part, we need minimum qualifications to serve the board.
That's what I was going to say. We have to have people that know what they're doing, and I really am opposed to any member of your body or our body sitting on that at all. I think that we need to remove ourselves
Right.
completely.
And I think that in our discussions at the council meeting, I think that unanimously, so there's not going to be any push to appoint elected officials, ourselves or otherwise. I mean, I from the beginning, it just seemed an inappropriate thing to do. See, we're moving in the right direction. All I gotta do is come here, and it all come together. But yeah, so, and I think that concern also from Paul Render was, you really can't have the elected officials, because we need to get as far away from this being a government foundation as we can get. So I think that idea is we're all on the same sheet there. So maybe you guys can give some thought, maybe we can discuss this, maybe even at our Monday meeting a little bit, so we can start finishing up the paperwork and getting it going, and then we can explore the other possibilities simultaneously. If we didn't do it Monday, we'd have to do it Tuesday under other general matters.
We advertise it as a joint session of the commissioners and the council to evaluate the hospital proceedings.
Yeah.
They receive it, which is out of our control. So I think it's
So that gives you an idea at least where we're at, what we're doing, what we're looking for, and, you know, what we need to sort of get our minds together on. Anything you need of us in anticipation of the discussion?
just more money in our budget.
You and everybody else, yes.
The number of the board members should be even or
Odd, not odd people, just odd numbers. Really odd people, but an odd, you always want to be able, you don't want to time. You don't want everything to be dead on time. Okay. Thanks for having me, it's always a pleasure. I don't like this side of the table, I love to be center of the table. But you guys are much nicer to me.
Not so much you, the rest of your time. Okay. Anyone else wish to address this body for